Stay where you are until our backs are turned. We wear our fingers rough with handling them. Oh, just another kind of outdoor game, one on a side. It comes to little more. There, where it is we do not need the wall. He is all pine, and I am apple orchard. My apple trees will never get across and eat the cones under his pines, I tell him. He only says, good fences make good neighbors. Spring is the mischief in me, and I wonder if I could put a notion in his head. Why do they make good neighbors? Isn't it where there are cows? But here there are no cows. Before I built the wall, I'd ask to know what I was walling in or walling out, and to whom I was like to give an offense. Something there is that doesn't love a wall. They want it down. I could say elves to him, but it's not elves exactly, and I'd rather he said it to himself. I see him there, bringing a stone grasped firmly by the top, in each hand, like an old stoned savage armed. He moves in darkness, as it seems to me, not of woods only and the shade of trees. He will not go behind his father's saying, and he likes having thought of it so well. He says again, good fences make good neighbors. Mending Wall narrates a complex story drawn from the rural New England countryside. The narrator, a New England farmer, contacts his neighbor in the spring season to rebuild the stone wall between their two farms. As the men work, the narrator questions the purpose of a wall. Where it is, we do not need the wall. He notes twice in the poem that, quote, something there is that doesn't love a wall, end quote. But his neighbor replies back twice with the proverb, good fences make good neighbors. Despite its simple, almost folksy language, Mending Wall is a complex poem with several themes, beginning with human fellowship, which Frost first dealt with in his poem titled, quote, A Tuft of Flowers, end quote, published in 1915. Tuft of Flowers explores the relational bonds between men. Tuft of Flowers is one of Frost's pastoral poems. It is about a quiet and unexpected discovery of a kindred spirit between two strangers, but joined in a work ethic linked closely by nature. They share a deep love and abiding appreciation of nature's beauty and nature's bounty. The speaker recognizes their similarity and connectedness despite never having met each other. There is honesty in the hard labor of working within idyllic, natural surroundings. The poem is about what can be learned from the simple pastoral experience of mowing grass. Mending Wall deals with the growing distances and tensions between men. Mending Wall explores the contradictions in life and humanity, including the contradictions within each individual person as man, quote, makes the boundaries and he breaks the boundaries, end quote. The poem also explores the role of boundaries in shaping and reshaping human society, as Mending the Wall serves both to separate and to join the two neighbors, another contradiction. Mending Wall also plays with the theme of seasons as recurring cycles in life and contrasts those cycles with both physical and language parallelism as the men walk along the wall, each to their own side, and their respective languages. Each one stays to their own side of the wall. In Mending Wall, Frost meditates on the role of language as a kind of wall that serves to both join and separate people. Language becomes the means of grace which brings people together. Mending the Wall is a game of give and take, duck and cover for the narrator. Though in contrast, the neighbor seems quite serious about fully engaging in the work ahead of both. The narrator notes how the neighbors seem to be walking not only in the thick shade of woods and trees, but in actual darkness, implying a latent ignorance and/or an inhospitable sentiment. Mending Wall is a true Robert Frost poem which analyzes the nature of human relationship. The title itself suggests that the poem is all about life circumstances that serve to divide. Yet on the other hand, it is also about mending human relationships. Through those circumstances in life that serve to divide, man striving to heal and mend, using said divisions as a means of uniting also. Throughout the poem, the wall functions as a metaphor, indicating the need for friendship and separation between human beings. The poem, in an arresting and dramatic way, is speaking to the reader as to the true nature of things. The narrator says that there are some things in nature that doesn't love a wall. All man-made walls get destroyed, either by nature or by the work of hunters, or by the weight of years. Then, at the beginning of each coming season, the two farmers must come together again and repeat the time-honored, year-after-year process of, quote, mending the wall, end quote, resting between them. So, when the spring season comes, he informs his neighbor and they again begin to mend the wall that separates their properties, and in the process, restoring their relationship to each other. Each farmer is expending great energy and effort, laboring to resurvey, resource, rebuild, and repair the boundaries for their respective sides of their staked-out property lines. The poem compels the reader to eventually recognize that there will come a time when both farmers will have to come together, share in their labors and resources, and, quote, mend the wall, end quote. Year after year, during this mending, the narrator thinks to himself of the utter foolishness of this activity. In fact, there is no need of a wall between them. He has only apple trees, and his neighbor has only pine trees. His apple trees, would never dare to cross the border and eat up the pine cones. Meaning, long-held, deeply rooted, preconceived notions of what must be dividing us, the poem says, have no meaningful or realistic cornerstones upon which the farmers should keep building upon. The great poem, we read, in Ecclesiastes weaves and indeed mirrors our similarly intricate, delicate tapestry also, as we read again from Ecclesiastes 3, 1-8. There is a season, a time appointed for everything, and a time for every delight and event or purpose under heaven. A time to be born and a time to die, a time to plant and a time to uproot what is planted, a time to kill and a time to heal, a time to tear down and a time to build up, a time to weep and a time to laugh, a time to mourn and a time to dance, a time to throw away stones and a time to gather stones, a time to embrace and a time to refrain from embracing, a time to search and a time to give up as lost, a time to keep and a time to throw away, a time to tear apart and a time to sew together, a time to keep silent and a time to speak, a time to love and a time to hate, a time for war and a time for peace. What have we to learn and take forward from our many challenges and complex experiences? Just this: what we have shared, done together here, was, is, and ever shall be a God-given work. What gain, verse 9, what gain have the workers from their toils? We have, verse 10, we have seen the business that God has given to everyone to be busy with. What we behold today, when we take the time to remember from whence we came, we can each say with our hands and hearts, our faith, our hopes, and our love raised to the highest heavens. Verse 11, that God has made everything suitable for its time. Moreover, he has put a sense of past and future into our minds. Moreover, it is God's gift that all should eat and drink and take pleasure in all their toil. I know, I pray you also know as well, that whatever God does endures forever, that nothing can be added to it, nor anything taken away from it. God, and God alone, has done this, so that all should stand in awe and revere only him. We ourselves are only limited by time. We can only see what today is, and we can only guess what all our visions of all our tomorrows will bring. We can only give so much of ourselves to serve God. When God works in our lives, he gives his all. He knows all things, sees all days, is present everywhere in all ways. He has all the power and is not hindered by any earthly limitation as we are. All three persons of the Godhead, Father, Son, and Holy Spirit, work in perfect communion to accomplish his plan for our lives. With full knowledge of our past, our present, and all our tomorrows. Brothers, beloved brothers and sisters, in the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit, Riders Forge, Bible Fellowship, our time and our season in the Son, God has brought to its conclusion. Our covenant work is done here. Reverend Shin, Eden Korean United Methodist Church, your time, your season, your work, your labor here now begins in a holy earnest. Therefore, beloved, be steadfast and immovable, always excelling in the work of the Lord, always doing your best, always doing more than is needed or expected or required of you, because you know that in the Lord your tireless efforts, your labors are never, ever in vain, are never, ever wasted by God. My friends, to God be the glory